Legal loopholes. Credit repair tactics exposed. Chapter 8. How to negotiate a deal with your creditors. It is important to note that when negotiating a deal in regard to a collection account, your overall objective is to negotiate a deal with the creditor or collection agency to have the negative account deleted as though it never existed. To negotiate a deal only to have the collection account reported as paid collection or paid after charge-off, you would ultimately defeat the very purpose of making a deal, since these statements are just as bad as never paying any money at all. What the credit bureaus don't want you to know. Credit bureaus typically are against deleting accounts. I was recently reviewing a data release agreement that Experian sent to its valued subscribers, data providers, collection agencies, and your creditors. And it stated as follows. When applicable, Experian and the credit reporting industry expect all data contributors to report collection accounts as paid collection transactions when they are paid. This information should not be deleted unless required by law. Although this may seem like a valuable consumer service and helps you collect a debt, it is a disservice to your credit granting clients for Experian to allow the deletion of this valuable collection information. For these reasons, if your company is deleting valid customer information or charging fees to delete information, or both, Experian reserves the right to terminate this agreement immediately and remove client records from our credit reporting system. Deal or no deal. Note, creditors and collection agencies are in the business of making money by all means. Therefore, most collection agencies have ignored this warning from the credit bureau and have deleted collection accounts for fractions of the original amount. If you are unable to get the creditor or collection agency delete the account request, that may change the collection account to paid as agreed in exchange for a fraction of the cost. In essence, you are entering into a contract by renegotiating the terms of the old contract delinquent account. When negotiating a deal, there are different strategies for dealing with the original creditor versus the collection agencies. When negotiating with the original creditor, there is a chance that you can negotiate a settlement before the actual account is sold to a collection agency. Some suggest that the best time to strike a deal with the original creditor is before your account is 6 months delinquent. The 180-day mark is when the delinquent account is usually charged off or sold to a collection agency. Some experts say that the best time to negotiate a deal with a collection agency is at the end of the month, as they have monthly quotas. After you have disputed the negative items several times with no success, exhausted all other remedies, and all else has failed, I would recommend negotiating a deal. If you are struggling with a student loan, you can call and let them know that you are experiencing a hardship and you need to have your payments deferred. Additionally, you can enter into a forbearance agreement or loan rehabilitation program. Collection agencies usually purchase derogatory accounts for pennies on the dollar. I would recommend calling the supervisor of the credit or collection agency and offering them a 20% of the original amount to delete the said account. If the original loan was $1,000, I would offer them $200 to delete the account. If you agree to settle with them without this stipulation, deleting the account from all 3 credit bureaus, the settled account could continue to be listed under negative accounts. Normally, if you pay off an account that has been charged off, the account will now read payment after charge off, which still reflects negatively on your credit report. Most of the time, the supervisor will respond with a counteroffer, which usually is about 50% of the total amount owed. Don't be afraid to counteroffer his offer and continue to negotiate to get the best deal. Another proven strategy in negotiating a deal is to inform the creditor that you are overwhelmed in debt and are considering filing a bankruptcy if you are unable to resolve this matter for a reasonable amount of money. Most creditors know that if you file for bankruptcy, they will not be able to collect on the debt anyhow, so they will agree to resolve the debt for a fraction of the cost. When you reach an agreement with the creditor to have the account deleted from all three credit bureaus for a specific fixed amount, get the terms of the agreement in writing. I would recommend using a fax machine to receive the terms of the signed document or agreement. Only when the agreement is signed would I send the payment. There's a saying in the legal profession that goes back to the days of Cicero, mid-1st century BC. An unwritten contract isn't worth the piece of paper it isn't written on. If you successfully negotiate a deal that involves a series of payments to be deducted monthly, be sure to use a prepaid credit card with only that specific amount on it, and load it with cash only as needed. I have even heard of people sending the collection agency a check for a small percentage of the total amount owed. The back of the check would state something to the following: by signing and endorsing this check, collection agency's name, enters into a binding contract and agrees to accept this amount as full payment for account, and then you put the account number, and collection agency's name, also agrees to delete this account from all credit bureaus. While I would recommend consulting with a lawyer before using this strategy, the canceled check could possibly serve as verification of the signed binding contract. All or nothing. When negotiating deals with collection agencies, you have to have an all or nothing mentality. I would not recommend setting up a payment plan. All this does in some states is start the statute of limitations all over again. Some experts say that paying off old debts can lower your score by giving you a new current date for your date of last activity. Note, when you deal with collectors, be ready to make a deal for the funds you have readily available. If you do not have the funds, wait until you obtain the funds so you can settle at the said account right then and there. I would only make a deal if the debt collector were willing to delete the said account or update it to closed paid. So you want to have it updated to closed paid as agreed. Regardless, whatever method you use or conceive, it is ultimately up to the creditor whether they say deal or no deal.